We continue to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 11, text 57. The Supreme Brahman is beyond mental speculation. He is self-manifest, existing in his own bliss, and he is beyond the material energy. He is known by the crest jewels of the Vedas, by refutation of irrelevant knowledge. Thus, in relation to that Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead, whose glory had been shown by the manifestation of all the four-armed forms of Vishnu, Lord Brahma, the Lord of Sarasvati, was mystified. What is this? He thought, and then he was not even able to see. Lord Kṛṣṇa, understanding Brahma's position, then at once removed the curtain of his Yogamaya. In the presence of the Lord, everything can be explained very easily. It might be not clear how he does it, but we understand what is going on. Yes, his potencies are inconceivable. You cannot get it, but in the presence of the Lord, you can understand it. Without His presence, it's all impossible to do. Material science is facing a dead end for hundreds of years now, trying to learn it. And material potency is covering the knowledge of people. It is said that it doesn't matter how you use it, just use it. We don't know what it is exactly, but we can enjoy it. And thanks to this enjoyment, they create this science. But according to Vedas, it's all knee science. All this high tech, you can really put to this intelligence raw, or you cannot say that all this high tech is intelligence. And everything is very clear here that Supreme Brahman is being revealed and manifested only by Himself. It simply exists there. Why does it exist? We cannot ask about it, because He's all independent, totally. He can be self-revealed. No one can show us God. No one can describe us God until He does it by Himself. No one can find a sun at night, even with the help of flashlights. The sun reveals itself. When we don't see a God, when we don't see their God, we see His potencies that connected to Him. Any energy, any potency is connected to Him. There is only one energy that might not be connected to God. That would be my mind or my will. It is also an energy of God, but my usage of it is wrong. The mind, thoughts, and feelings are also potencies of the Lord. But if I don't use it to serve the Lord, then it means it is illusion. There is a big purport here, and we've covered a big chunk of it already. Brahma was mystified about Krishna's opulence, nijamahima ni, because this opulence was athārya, or inconceivable. With one's limited senses, one cannot argue about that which is inconceivable. Therefore, the inconceivable is called achintya, that which is beyond chintya, our thoughts and arguments. Achintya refers to that which we cannot contemplate, but have to accept. There are such statements of Shastras that we need to accept things that we cannot understand. And usually one is taking any theory without any proofs in science, in modern science. Why can't we work with the same statement in Vedas, learn Vedas? But they're still working and using the same foolish theory. If we're arguing about inconceivable things, the results of that would be getting an anarthas. If there's something higher than our understanding, we just need to accept it. They say, yes, there are some things that are inconceivable, but they deny that there is a superior mind, intelligence behind it. They don't even, they also deny the mind or intelligence of a neighbor or someone who is not agree with them. All you need to do is just accept it. That's why this is knee science. Srila Jiva Goswami has said that unless we accept achintya in the Supreme, we cannot accommodate the conception of God. This must be understood. Therefore, we say that the words of Shastra should be taken as they are without change. Since they are beyond our arguments, achintya kalu ye bhava natams tarkena yojayet. That which is achintya cannot be ascertained by argument. People generally argue. It can be understood. There are some things beyond our perception. People generally argue, but our process is not to argue, but to accept the Vedic knowledge as it is. When Kṛṣṇa says, this is superior and this is inferior, we accept what he says. It is not that we argue, why is this superior and that is inferior? If one argues, for him the knowledge is lost. Anything can be argued about. It's the nature of the mind. Some people are good argument, having good arguments, but when they're meeting the standards of the spiritual practice, they start to argue about it and say, this is nonsense. Why do you have 4 principles, 4 regulative principles? Why not 3? Why are there 16 and not 14 or 10 rounds of japa? Who told you that? And these questions really hard to be explained, like when you go to the hospital and your doctor He's giving you a certain prescription, and that this dosage of the medicine you need to take. And he would say, I need a formula, I need a chemistry formula to have a proof. This is not a Vedic approach. Why people trying to get these proofs? There is only one reason for that. Not only because they have no good qualities, because they face lies very often. In this age of Kali, these deficiencies are spread out. If there are no proofs in Shastra, then people, they give some statements of their own, and this is a mistake, because you give these explanations and you bring in a mistake, and then these mistakes are growing, and you go further and further from the answer. That's why nowadays we're living at the world of fools and who've been fooled. And the intelligence of people is being diminished. This is a serious problem. High tech and machines are more intelligent than man nowadays. It's a serious problem. The memory is decreasing. Health is decreasing. Conflicts and arguments are there constantly. We think it is okay to live during pandemic or atomic bomb danger. So we got used to it. Everything is normal. These are the serious things. But the machines are being built and they're more perfect. There are some navigators and everything for your enjoyment. If you turn this off, what a man can do? If he is doing something without a mixer, like if he is mixing without a machine, a person is very weak nowadays. Weak intelligence. Mixer is very good. Our WC is very well occupied, but what it does to your body? Ayurvedic doctors say you don't need these things because it's wasting your health. You need to do it naturally. Otherwise, later you have a problem. Your soft beds, you sleep makes you sleep longer. You eat whenever you want, and it brings the degradation. And then you stop understanding what is good, what is bad for you, what is tasty, what is not tasty. And to understand what is good for me, a person goes to see the doctor and he gets his advices, but he's not following anything. He doesn't know. Everybody is living like an animal. Those doctors, they don't follow any recommendations they given to their patients. So we can talk about it on and on and on, but it is said that this is superior and this is inferior. What do you start with from? You will start with inferior because superior is not there for you to grab. But if you start with inferior, you will have no brains to go further, and you will destroy everything. And when everything is destroyed by the war, everybody is saying it's better not to have war. When everything got destroyed and everybody is damaged, we need to start learning from superior. Where do we find this superior knowledge? We can only take it from the sacred books, sacred texts. This path of acceptance is called Avaroha Pantha. The word Avaroha is related to the word avatar, which means that which descends. Avaroha Pantha. The materialist wants to understand everything by the Avaroha Pantha, by argument and reason, but transcendental matters cannot be understood in this way. Rather, one must follow the Avaroha Pantha, the process of descending knowledge. Therefore, one must accept the Parampara system, and the best Parampara is that which extends from Kṛṣṇa, evam Parampara Praptam. What Kṛṣṇa says we should accept, imam rajasa vidu, which is called Avaroha Pantha. They say there is no God, and but there is a God's will, and it's written in the scriptures. It's a fact. It's inconceivable. The source is unknown, so there is no answer. In their opinion, 5 years ago, there were some unintelligent people living, and they're saying, no, it was written like 700 years ago or something. But in the Shastras, there is this information, but they don't trust it. They say 5,000 years ago it was like only monkeys were there, not even human-like monkeys. Not Homo sapiens. People still believe in this theory. But however, this statement, even if it came like 200 years ago, who wrote these statements? Who wrote it? Where's this person? Where did he take his knowledge from? There is no answer. They cannot give us any answer. But the books are here, but they don't know where it came from. Because these books, no one really reads these books or can understand. Even to read and understand, they cannot. Of course we can get this knowledge just by reading it. It doesn't even matter if it came from 5,000 years old or 500 years old or 200 years old times. This is the only source. If we want to go back to Kṛṣṇa, this is what we need to read from. So we can learn from Bhagavad Gita that was told by Kṛṣṇa. And if we still would like to be on this path of absolute truth, we follow Bhagavad Gita, we will come to Kṛṣṇa naturally. Brahma, however, adopted the Aroha Pantha. He wanted to understand Krishna's mystic power by his own limited conceivable power, and therefore he himself was mystified. Everyone wants to take pleasure in his own knowledge. Even Brahma, with his intelligence, he was mystified when he was dealing with Kṛṣṇa. That's the scheme of the false ego. They say that I know. And children, they say, you know it. And disciples of Srila Prabhupada were saying like, Srila Prabhupada, you're saying so good about Kṛṣṇa. And he was like, yes, but the knowledge, it does not belong to me or anyone else. Everyone they just argue. Everyone wants to take pleasure in his own knowledge, thinking, I know something, but in the presence of Krishna, this conception cannot stand, for one cannot bring Krishna within the limitation of Prakriti. One must submit. There is no alternative. Natams tarkena yajayate. This submission makes the difference between Krishna-tis and Mayavadis. The philosophy is identical about Brahman, but Brahman is impersonal, so we're not being humble facing Brahman. So they're just being humble until they learn about Brahman, and then again there's ahankara arises. So they say, after learning Brahman, you cannot stay there for long. For many lives, they will have to cover that path towards Brahman again until they're devotees of Krishna. But this soul is very rare. Usually they just rising and falling, rising and falling, rising and falling, on and on and on and on, until they get the, until they become devoted to Krishna. Such soul who is devoted to Krishna is very rare. Why? Why is it like this? Because Maya is all around, and it is covering this knowledge. Isn't it like that? When we get a knowledge, some big knowledge, we see that everybody is ignorant. But Uttamadhikari, he knows, he sees that. But at the same time, he knows that he's a devotee of Krishna. That's why he's not falling down. And but Mayavadi, he thinks that only me, who is enlightened, everybody else is in ignorance. But Vaishnavas, they think that it's not only me, but everybody else is a part of Krishna. The phrase athāto refers to the discarding of that which is irrelevant. Athāt means that which is not a fact. Brahman is sometimes described as asthulam, anani, achrasvam, arhasvam, adiriham, that which is not large and not small, not short and not long. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Neti. Not small, not short, not long, not large. What is it? It's mystery. That's Brahman. So this is the dead end for our mind. One shloka is there, and we have nothing to argue about. Neti. It is not this, it is not that. But what is it? In describing of pencil, in describing a pencil, one may say, it is not this, it is not that, but this does not tell us what it is. I may say that a pencil is not a brick, or pencil is not a branch of a tree, it's not a rock, nor the water or air. So I'm just giving a list of things that is not the pencil, but I'm not explaining what it is. What it is. There is so much of definitions, but it's not that. Just say Krishna, that would be enough.
Это называется определением через отрицание.
It is called,
В Бхагавад-гите Кришна
to
говорит
describe
о
in a
душе,
pencil, one may say it is
говоря,
not
тоже,
this, it is not
тоже
that, but
дает
this is,
определение через отрицание.
but this
На
does not tell
джаятенна
us what it is.
яджива.
This is called definition of
Душа не
negation.
рождается, не умирает.
In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also explains that
То же
the
самое.
the soul by giving negative definitions.
А как оно существует? Откуда? Чё? Я не понимаю.
Why is it there then,
Ум заклинило снова.
if there is no definition?
Что о вечности человек
The
вообще не
mind
может
is
думать.
stuck.
Ум.
Because mind cannot be thinking
даже
about
представить не может, как
eternity. It's hard to really
это происходит.
imagine it or what's going on there.
Сверх того, ты вряд ли что-нибудь поймешь.
Na jayate mriyate va. It is not
Это
born,
Кришна сказал,
nor
что душа не рождается, не умирает,
dies,
и выше этого ты вряд ли что-нибудь
nor
поймешь.
does it die.
Остальное
You
просто
can hardly understand more than
не
this.
поймешь.
But what is it? It is eternal.
Но что же такое душа? Она вечна.
It is unborn,
Аджонитях,
eternal, ever
Ашашвато.
existing, undying, and
Ям
primeval.
Пурана.
It is not slain when the body is slain. Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, the
Она
soul
нерожденная,
is
вечная,
difficult
всегда
to understand,
существующая
and therefore
и
Krishna
изначальная.
has given
Тут же
negative
утверждение,
definitions.
да, некоторые идут.
The soul can never be cut
Изначальная,
into pieces by any weapon,
существующая.
nor
Это не
can
понимают
it
люди,
be
что такое
burned by
существование, что такое
fire,
изначально
nor,
существование. Ну, хоть
nor
условно говоря,
moistened
для
by
ученых.
water, no
Не могут взять в толк.
withered by the
Людей
wind.
не могут понять.
So they really cannot give any definitions for
Она
the
не
soul.
гибнет, когда погибает тело.
This is the
Бхагавад-гита 3,
so
2.20.
Krishna says it is not burned
Сначала бывает трудно понять
burned
природу
by
души,
fire.
поэтому
Therefore, one
Кришна
has
определяет
to
её
imagine
через отрицание.
what it is that
Наш
it
там
is not burned by fire.
нет. Найнам чинданти шастрани.
This is a negative
Найнам
definition.
тахати павака. Душу нельзя расчленить никаким оружием, сжечь огнем, намочить водой или сушить ветром. Бхагавад-гита 2.23. Это всё
Bhagavad
во
Gita
второй главе, в самом начале
2:23.
Бхагавад-гиты описывается.
It is all given in the beginning of
Если
second
эти вещи
chapter.
не понять,
If we don't
нельзя дальше
understand these
читать
things,
Бхагавад-гиту.
we cannot go any further.
Ну, потому что мы читаем,
Of course, we are
всё
reading.
понимаем, но мы хотя
We're
бы
not
принимаем это.
we're not getting all the knowledge from it, but we
Это и
accept
есть
it.
ведический подход.
This
Не
is the
понимаешь,
Vedic
но
approach.
принимаешь. Так, лекарство
You don't
не
understand it,
понимаю, но
but you
принимаю. Оно
accept
работает.
it. You don't understand
Это удивительно.
how medicine works,
Удивительно, потому что
but it
вечность, когда мы
works.
принимаем, это пробуждает сознание.
So when we accept the
Когда
eternity,
отрицаем,
it
усыпляет сознание.
brings our intelligence.
Я не понимаю, но принимаю. Вот
And
слово вечность. Просто
if we
принимаю.
do not
Вы
accept
видите,
it,
начнутся
it puts
трансформации
our
внутренние.
intelligence to sleep.
Просто иногда будет задуматься о вечности, которую он
If we,
принимает
from
как
time to time,
термин
think
просто.
about eternity,
что вечность существует.
that
И
it
иногда к
is,
этому будет обращаться и будет просить
exists,
трансформации. Несомненно,
then
он
there
начнет
will be a
прогрессировать,
transformation, and a person will
пробуждаться.
be progressing, be
То есть это
awakened.
удивительное открытие на самом деле.
This is a unique,
Одно такое откровение может
discovery.
поддерживать жизнь человека 20 лет.
such a discovery can
Ничего нового не получать
keep
может.
a person
20 лет спокойно
alive for 20 more
жить с большим
years
интересом.
without any new knowledge,
Что-то
and
ценное
his
делать.
life would be full of
Это целое приобретение будет внутреннее.
discoveries,
Если мы сможем
and
признать, что душа вечна у нас,
it would be
нас
very
будет посещать
interesting,
радость очень часто в сердце.
and we'll
Я
be
вечное
very happy
существо.
in our
Вечное
heart
живое
that we are
существо. Я
eternal
смерти нет.
living being,
Наханите.
that there is
Нельзя
no
убить.
death, no one can kill the soul,
Джете не рождается.
the soul can never be born.
Принято не умирает, нет.
Well, appearance is just
Вошел в комнату, вышел из комнаты, появился и исчез. я
when
могу сказать. Не исчез, не появился.
appearance and disappearance is the
Ушел в
thing
неправильное состояние от
we
моего взора.
see.
Также рождение и смерть. Рождение — это
The
проявление.
death and
Не
birth
появление.
is just like
появляется
that,
душа, не
similar to that.
Приходит и уходит.
The soul would never appear or
Это всё
disappear.
описывается в шастрах.
It's
Но
all
вот эти
described here in
ограниченные представления,
Shastras.
которые навязали ученые, невежество как
But
науку, сбивают с толку счастье.
Scientists they gave us these wrong definitions, and people cannot understand these simple things. Krishna says it is not burned by fire. Therefore, one has to imagine what it is that it is not burned by fire. This is a negative definition. Just like a fire, it doesn't burn in the fire. When it's done, there is no fire. But where do you get it again? Where is it? Where was it eventually? Originally? It was not manifested before the fire. There are some substances that would have the fire in it. If the soul doesn't burn in fire, why do they think about body, about matter, when someone is saying, mentioning the soul? When they say, no, it's not an elephant, it's not a demigod, it's not a matter. What is it? Then a person would say, you're just lying to me. You were not saying anything to me because I still don't know who is God or what is God. And God is a chintya. You cannot explain Him. That's why you cannot explain yourself. But you exist, you hear, and you're all in ignorance. That's why you cannot explain it. Lord Brahma's external consciousness then revived, and he stood up just like a dead man coming back to life. Opening his eyes with great difficulty, he saw the universe alone with himself. This is the text 58. So Brahma was awakened. Someone can't stand living in ignorance. When I see, I don't understand, I don't know. I hear, I don't understand. Such people, they close their eyes, open their ears, and go to the forest to meditate. They are elevated souls. They are not agree to live in ignorance. And there are some people who are ready to live in ignorance because there is a belly, there's genitals, there's a tongue, and they're ready to use it, enjoying themselves with the sex and liquor. They say, I would just steal from time to time and drink this and get to know that person. That's life. Funny life. Funny crowd goes to hell altogether. We actually do not die. At death, we are merely kept inert for some time, just as during sleep. Yesterday I was talking to Guru Maharaj and saying doctors, they distinguish 4 types of pain during death, and it may be very painful. So the death, and then when a person is being burned, and then having some sand or stones in the kidney. And he said Bhakti-chara Maharaj left his body smiling. Death is a big problem, a lot of pain, but he left his body with smile on his mouth. And we cannot do anything really. We can't even eat. We're being fed by our ancestors, by our outsprings. Nowadays they don't even come. And they say when a person is dead for several days in a row, he needs to have some food brought to him. But nowadays they don't do it. But the soft body still feels hunger, and it is bringing it mad. It is written in some Puranas that it is required to do. There are some instructions how this transformation to another body should be organized. And this is the state where you cannot do anything really, or protest or argue about it. You cannot take any earned from this life, anything earned. And then you spend 9 more months in the womb of mother, in a sound asleep. And then you're getting into the state of sleep with dreams. You sleep and you dream. And this is a big austerity to self-realize, to be self-realized in the womb of a mother. And when he is being born, he is under the shock and screaming. And gradually, with mother breasts and her hands, he in arms, he feels better. He doesn't understand anything, but he feels that there is a safe place. And he only knows that he just fell out into something unknown, and he's very scared. At night, we sleep and all our activities stop. But as soon as we arise, our memory immediately returns, and we think, oh, where I am? What do I have to do? This is called Suptatita Nyaya. Suppose we die. Die means that we become inert for some time and then again begin our activities. This takes place life after life according to our karma or activities and svabhava or nature by association. Now in the human life, if we prepare ourselves by beginning the activity of our spiritual life, we return to our real life and attain perfection. Otherwise, we according to karma, svabhava, prakriti, and so on, our varieties of life and activity continue, and so also do our birth and death. As explained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it means that we're gonna die and burn. As explained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, my dear brothers, why are you being washed away by the waves of Maya? One should come to the spiritual platform, and then one's activity will be permanent. Krita Punya Puja. This stage is attained after one accumulates the results of pious activities for many, many lives. Janma Koti Sukritar Nalabhyate. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 870. The Krishna consciousness movement wants to stop Koti Janma, repeated death and birth. In one birth, one should rectify everything and come to permanent life. This is Krishna consciousness. Text number
Поглядев одновременно во все
59.
стороны,
Then looking in all
Господь Брахма
directions,
сразу
Lord
увидел
Brahma
перед
immediately
собой
saw
Вриндаван.
Vrindavan before him,
Повсюду росли деревья,
filled with
дававшие
trees,
его обитателям
which were
средства
the
к существованию
means of
и одинаково
livelihood for the
радовавшие их в любое
inhabitants,
время года.
and which were equally pleasing in all seasons.
Дана дживья друма кирнам. Деревья и растения необходимы для жизни
Jana
человека
Jivya, Druma
и доставляют
Kirna,
ему
trees
радость
and
всегда,
vegetables
в
are
любое время
essential,
года.
and they give happiness all
Природа
year
Вриндавана
round,
такова, что
in all
деревья там
seasons. That
радуют
is the arrangement in Vrindavan.
людей во
It
все
is
времена
not
года,
that
и не только
in
в
one
какие-то
season the trees are pleasing and in
деревья и
another
овощи, вот
season
что на самом
not
деле нужно
pleasing.
каждому.
Rather, they are equally
Сарва
pleasing
кама дукхама
throughout the seasonal
Бхагаватам
changes.
1.10.4.
Trees and
Чтобы
vegetables
жить людям
provide the real
нужны
meals
именно
of
деревья и
livelihood
овощи, а не
recommended
промышленные
for everyone.
предприятия.
Sarva karma durmamahi.
Удивительная правда, иллюзия.
Bhagavatam
Все
1.10.4.
это иногда приходит
Trees and
через много
vegetables,
лет,
not industry, provide the real
прежде чем он поймет,
means
как
of
деревья
life.
важны в его жизни. И вот просто выращенные овощи, фрукты.
So these
Что-то важнее
fruits and vegetables
Самое
that been
всего. Больше предпочтения даешь
cultivated
каким-то магазинам, там, вещам, предметам, созданным на фабриках.
or something that was produced on or manufactured.
Посадить дерево не догадывается.
This is the priority for people. They don't think they need to
Почему так
plant a
Вриндаван
tree.
красив? Деревья, скалповрикшие.
Vrindavan is
Почему такая у вас пища
having
вкусная?
lots of
Овощи
trees,
такие овощи.
the kalpavriksha trees. Why do you have
Всё
such tasty fruits and
Как же мы
vegetables
потеряли
here
вот это вот представление об этой
in
простоте?
Vrindavan?
Ценнейшие вещи.
How did we lost
Итак,
this
Брахма
information,
увидел вот
this
эти
knowledge about a simple
деревья,
life?
рощи,
So
Вриндавана.
Brahma, he saw these
После вот этого забытия
trees and
впал
of
в это
Vrindavana
помешательство,
and scenery of Vrindavana
практически в
after being
состояние равное смерти. он
almost
попал. Он не мог ни думать, ни смотреть, ни
dead
действовать, то есть, потому что это Брахма,
for
он
some
должен
time.
быть.
He couldn't see anything,
в
he
теле
couldn't do
разума.
anything.
А разум
Because
его
Brahma
претерпел
has
крушение,
a body
он
of
испытал это
knowledge,
тяжелое состояние.
of intellect,
Пока
and his
разум спит, там не
intellect
грозит
was asleep,
потерпеть такое крушение. Но когда разум пробуждается,
and
то
he was in
внимательно.
shock. And when the intellect is sleeping, you cannot do anything.
Нужно различать, нужно
You need to distinguish things.
поддерживать эту функцию.
You need to sustain.
Так, если у
this
нас есть,
function.
скажем, знание, нужно поддерживать.
When we have knowledge,
Квалификацию нужно
we need to
поддерживать,
sustain this knowledge, sustain the qualification.
признавать себя дисквалифицированным.
And it is very
потерявшим
painful
рассудок.
to see
Когда
yourself
рассудка нет, то
as
человек не беспокоится.
disqualified. But when there is no
Брахма, его
intelligence,
разум,
there is no worries.
тело разума, высшее тело.
So Brahma has the body of
Для него потерять
intellect,
рассудок это равносильно
and
смерти.
for him losing the intellect
И вот
is
на этот момент, как бы потерял рассудок, он
similar
не мог
to
понять
be
вот эти
dead.
ни причины, ни следствия, как, почему.
So
вот
he
не было его
couldn't
понимания
really
этого. И
perceive
Брахма, он
anything.
вошел в это состояние
And Brahma got into this state
прострации, несвойственной ему.
of
И он вышел из этого состояния
prostration.
теперь. И что же он
And now
увидел?
he is out of it,
Который
and he
одинаково
sees
радует в любое время
Vrindavan.
года. Поэтому надо сажать деревья, выращивать овощи.
So we need to plant the
Это
trees and grow vegetables.
очень важно.
It's important.
Вриндаван — это трансцендентная обитель
Vrindavan is a
Господа,
transcendental abode of the
где нет
Lord,
ни голода, ни жажды.
where there is no hunger.
Несмотря на
anger
природную
or
вражду
thirst.
между людьми и хищными
Though
зверями,
naturally
в Вриндаване они
inimical,
живут
both
вместе,
human beings and
связанные
fierce
узами
animals live
трансцендентной
there
дружбы.
together in transcendental friendship.
Такой Вриндаван.
This is Vrindavan.
Там, по идее, не может быть вражды, в принципе,
There
в Вриндаване. Ну, конечно, можно
cannot be
увидеть
any
Вриндаван, оказаться в Вриндаване,
anger.
в этом удивительном настроении Вриндавана, где не может быть
It is
вражды,
nice to
даже
be in
близко.
the Vrindavan.
Даже такие желания отсутствуют.
Even the
Немножко
desires,
проснуться,
such
приход
desires,
кошмарного сна,
or not exist there, of hunger and thirst and anger. This is not India. Vrindavan is not Uttar Pradesh. Vrindavan is not Hindu. This is Vrindavan, with all the differences fading away. Animals live there together in transcendental friendship. The word vana means forest. We are afraid of the forest and do not wish to go there, but in Vrindavan the forest animals are as good as demigods, for they have no envy. Even in this material world, in the forest, the animals live together, and when they go to drink water, they do not attack anyone. Envy develops because of sense gratification, but in Vrindavan there is no sense gratification, for the only aim in Krishna's satisfaction. Even in this material world, the animals in Vrindavan are not envious of the sadhus who live there. The sadhus keep cows and supply milk to the tigers, saying, "Come here and take a little milk." Thus, envy, this is how they invite tigers. There used to be a lot of tigers in Vrindavan. Radhanath Mahārāja was describing it. He came to Vrindavan without knowing a place, what it is, what it was. He came hitchhiking to Vrindavan from Europe. And tigers were still there back then. And sadhus been saying that a tiger is nearby and he can attack. So it's better to leave some open places where you sit under the tree. But the sadhu said that we're not going to hide away, because if we would be eaten by the tiger, it means Krishna's mercy. Thus, envy and malice are unknown in Vrindavana. There is a difference between Vrindavana and the ordinary world. We are horrified to hear the name of Vana, the forest, but in Vrindavana there is no such horror. Everyone there is happy by pleasing Kṛṣṇa. Whether a Goswami or a tiger or other ferocious animal, everyone's business is the same, to please Kṛṣṇa. Even the tigers are also devotees. This is the specific qualification of Vrindavana. In Vrindavan, everyone is happy. The calf is happy, the cat is happy, and the dog is happy. The man is happy, everyone. Everyone wants to serve Kṛṣṇa in a different capacity, and thus there is no envy. One may sometimes think that the monkeys in Vrindavan are envious because they cause mischief and steal food, but in Vrindavan we find that the monkeys are allowed to take butter, which Kṛṣṇa himself distributed. Kṛṣṇa personally demonstrated that everyone has the right to live. This is Vrindavana life. Why should I live and you die? No, that is material life. The inhabitants of Vrindavan think, whatever is given by Kṛṣṇa, let us divide it. It is a prasada, and eat. This mentality cannot appear all of a sudden, but it will gradually develop with Kṛṣṇa consciousness. But sadhana, one can come to this platform. And Brijabhas is there like that. But at the same time, Prabhupada is saying, don't talk to Brijabhas closely. Because when they see the Western people, they lose themselves to money. And that's why we're seeing them in a different way. So they approaching, expecting to get some money from us.
Пристают, попрошайничают или там что-то
And they're
придумывают.
sticky, they
Но на
asking
самом
for it.
деле они совершенно другие.
But their
Это
real
можно
self is
понять,
different.
когда войти с ними в
It
духовный
can
контакт.
be understood when we have a spiritual
Мы были на Радакунде.
connection with them.
Большая группа.
Once we were at the
Это была
Radhakund,
группа Кешава
there
Махараджа.
was a big group of people. It
Прямо
was
на
a
Радакунде мы
group by
расположились,
Keshava
там
Maharaj.
какой-то дворик нашли,
And we found a
решили
yard
провести программу. И, как всегда,
next to
приходят
Radhakund
местные
and
гости,
just
деньги прислали,
hold-
буквально в
held a
Индонезии,
program,
они
and
находят,
some
всех, дайте денег.
natives, they
При
were
этом
coming
видно, что они
asking for
простые,
money.
наивные, как бы не обидчивые,
We could
всегда
see that
знают,
they were
отказаться от
simple
своих
and
просьб,
innocent.
Ну вот, мы их видим
People,
такими,
and if even someone
но
would
мы пели киртан,
deny
и
them,
киртан как-то разлился по всему Радакунду,
and
знаете,
they
как-то
would
святое
still
имя.
be okay. So we've been doing kirtan, and kirtan was all around. And these
И стали просить деньги, стали
natives,
танцевать, и всё, как
they
раз
stopped
очень
asking for money, and they started to
Потому что это бриджабаси.
dance and laugh,
Но
because
некоторые люди
those are
думают, ну,
bridjabasis.
бриджабаси, боже мой, это
But some people think
только дай деньги, только там рупии,
these
рупии,
bridjabasis
рупии,
are
рупии.
always after money.
Думали, бриджабаси нам лекцию прочитает, там какие-то знания раскроет, да.
We thought Bridjabasis is going to
Это
give
сделал
us a
Прабхупада.
class,
Он тоже бриджабаси.
and he will give us knowledge,
Поэтому да, здесь вот
just like
описывается,
Prabhupada,
это
who
у
was
них
also
врожденная вещь,
Bridjabasi.
помогать друг другу, это не только в
So,
Риндане, в Индии, это еще врожденное у них.
These features are inborn
Если
in
вы на самом
them,
деле в чем-то нуждаетесь,
and they are
первый, кто вам поможет, бриджабаси.
still have it. So if you're in need of something, the first one to help
Мы
you
шли
will
из
be Bridjabasi.
Явата,
Once
Нандаграм,
we've
с
been
Нанда
going
Махараджем.
through Yavata, Nandagram,
Вот. И там
with
мы
a
долго
group.
были в Явате, слышали
We've been for a
лекции,
long
киртан,
time
уже
in
время
Yavat,
завтрака прошло у нас,
listening to
непрошено.
kirtan, and there was a breakfast
голодные.
time already. Everybody is
И
hungry,
думали, где же потом нам перекусить-то, просад у нас будет, нет.
thinking,
И
will
мы
we
шли через
have
поля.
some prasadam or
Там был
not?
какой-то
And we were
крестьянин,
walking
под
through the
деревом там
fields,
в поле
and there was
работал, под деревом
some
завтракал.
peasant
И мы
taking
смотрели,
his
так, что он
prasadam, and we were like, what is he
Там
eating?
у него роти были такие. И сабжи.
He had some rotis and
На одного
sabji
человека.
for
Ну,
only one person.
Может быть, там еще кто-то с ним.
Maybe someone else would be there with
Но
him,
он
but
просто увидел этот взгляд. не
and
знаю
when he
почему,
saw this
сказал, «Идите
glance
сюда».
of us,
А нас
he
человек
said, come here.
около того. Но мы голодные идем, думаю, что он.
And we are hungry, and we've
идите
been
сюда,
approaching, and he's saying like, come here, prasadam,
Мы
prasadam.
подошли. Он
So we
посмотрел на
came.
нас, стал
He looked at us,
ломтики роти
and
отрывать,
he started to
брал сабжи в них,
take
каждому раздавал.
a little pieces of roti and put in sabji in it, and
Что самое удивительное, все
he
наелись,
started to
охватило.
give it to everyone.
И Говинда
And
Махарадж
it was
сказал,
amazing that
«Во Вриндаване никто не
it was
голодный».
enough for everyone. And Govinda Maharaj said,
Это другой
there is
пример
no
бриджабаси.
people starving in
Если вы
Vrindavan.
в чем-то нуждаетесь,
If you're in need
Нет
of
проблем.
something, no problem, you'll get it.
но если у вас куча денег, вы
But if
приехали,
you have a
никому
lot
не
of
даете.
money
Не, давай
and
сюда,
you're
давай
not
сюда,
giving
давай.
it to
Давай
anyone,
таксу плати за все, что ты просто
there will
плати,
be
всё,
a
потому что я
huge
тут живу.
sums, huge bills you need to
Очень
pay
просто.
everywhere. So it's just simple life.
То есть они имеют эту психологию врожденную.
They have this psychology inborn.
В материальном мире бывает, что человек собирает
In material
повсюду
world,
средства,
one may
чтобы
collect
бесплатно
funds
раздавать
all
пищу.
over the world
Однако
in
те,
order to
кого
distribute
кормят
food freely. Yet those
этой пищей,
to whom
даже
the
не
food is
испытывают
given
благодарности.
may not even feel appreciative.
Они говорят, мало, мяса не хватает. Тут
They say,
хочу всё вегетарианское».
it's not enough, or the meat is not there. Everything is
Если делать,
vegetarian.
давать людям сознание Кришны,
The value of Krishna consciousness, however, will gradually be very much appreciated. For instance, in an article about the temple of the Hare Krishna temple in Durban, South Africa, the Durban Post reported, all the devotees here are very active in the service of Lord Krishna, and the results are obvious to see: happiness, good health, peace of mind, and the development of all good qualities. This is the nature of Vrindavana. Without Krishna consciousness, happiness is impossible. One may struggle, but one cannot have happiness. We are therefore trying to give human society the opportunity for a life of happiness, good health, peace of mind, and all good qualities, though God consciousness. So we're gonna stop here. Do we have any questions today? In commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.9.27, it is said that you can save your money if you have a good association. Where do we put our money to? Interesting. Once I remember seeing two smokers there, and they had a smoke, and they tried to count their money. Where did it go? And they counted how much money did they spend on cigarettes, and they realized they could even buy a car on that money. So bad association is the commercials or any ads, and you're buying something, being influenced by it. This is a bad association as well. So if you just try to collect your money, count your money, your wages through your lifetime, try to remember it, and then try to see what have been bought with that money. This is a bad association result. I'm buying so much things under the influence of the commercials, and this is we spend our life the same way. What is progress in Krishna consciousness? There are two sides of this progress. One side would be you get renounced. You need less and less of sense gratification. This is the progress. You get more knowledge. This is progress. And the second thing would be you would be more attached to the holy name. It will grow. I study Bhagavad Gita and observe the Ekadashi. What should I do the worship? How can I do the worship to Murtis? You need not to worship statues. You need to worship Kṛṣṇa. Just like you see a picture, it's a painting, and there is Kṛṣṇa. And you need to think of it just like back there was no cameras, so they painted him, and this is Kṛṣṇa himself. So those guys living back then, they depicted Kṛṣṇa just like that. And we see the painting just like Lord Chaitanya. There are some paintings that been made by the artists back then, when Lord Chaitanya was there. He was alive, so they could paint him, and that's himself. So just forget those forms, the statues or deities. You need to worship Kṛṣṇa in your mind or in your heart. During Kartika, There was a child who was born dead on the 8th of November. And what should we do? Should there be done some rituals? No, I'm not really sure about this. It needs to be learned from Puranas, so I'm not qualified to answer this question. Ajamila had all the qualities by Brahma. The thing that he left his body here in Kirtan in the month of Kartika, I think there would be enough. That I think he had just a little leftover of karma, and it's like the day he appeared and the day he left was the same. So just a little bit of karma, then it's like, it's amazing what happened. It's a rare soul, I think. But of course we can ask someone to explain these things. Ajamila had all the qualities of Brahmana, but he saw a prostitute on the street and he lost all his Brahmanic qualities. It happened gradually, not in one moment. At first, he felt that bhava of sense gratification. If you see a drunk man who's happy and who's telling you jokes and he's kind and nice, you would think it's an interesting state of mind. I would like to try it. But if you see a drunk man lying in his own puke on the ground, you would say, no, I don't want to drink. So it would be just like that. If you see a process of enjoyment, you might get into this. Ajamila just was caught into this moment. They were into these nasty things, but they've been enjoying it, and he thought, such a freedom, I've never seen it before. So this bhava got into his heart, and gradually, day after day and year after year, it was developing, growing. This anartha was growing, and in the end he got married on that prostitute. We can also see such scenes in outside on the streets, or we could see it in the movie. And we should understand that this seed might grow. It was only one thing happened back then, because there were no ads, no commercials, and it happened to see this. But now it's all available there. Pornographies and in the internet, and youth, they find it very easily, and all the commercials are full of naked, half-naked women, and they try to promote their goods by that, and on the streets it's all there, and all the women, attractive women, are on the streets walking there, and we need to know that when we look at it, it grows in our heart, and we want to do the same. Even when we have the knowledge, the lust is stronger, the desire is stronger. We need to cleanse our mind every morning by chanting Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna mantra, not something else. We need to use the strongest detergent to clean our heart. We need to be engaged in readings of Srimad Bhagavatam, doing kirtans, chanting. That's the way we're gonna stay away from this lust. Srila Prabhupada was saying that we need to have all our senses engaged in devotional service. How can we do it? You start with chanting Hare Krishna mantra, with hearing from Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam lectures, and our tongue is being used, engaged in enjoying the prasadam, and when the prasadam gets into stomach, it spreads itself all around the body, and body is being cleansed, and that way our senses is more perceptive to the spiritual thing, and then we can do things under the instructions of our seniors. That's how we engage the feelings. It starts with Maha Mantra. A tongue is vibrating, and then the tongue is taking the prasadam, and the prasadam gets into us, and it cleans our fine intellect and the body. That way we can engage our senses. Why do we use such a category that something does not exist? If something does not exist, then we cannot say anything about it. Non-existence is there is existence. This is absolute. We cannot apply anything to something absolute. There is a synonym and antonym. Synonym when something is similar. This is a world of duality. We have similar and not similar things. So we cannot say non-existence. We need to understand that there is an existence of no self-awareness. When we say God, there is no such word that would say no God or not God. There is only the illusion that there is no God. Everything is God. I've heard that material and spiritual life are two lines.
Это конструктивно. Да, можно так. Это в жизни будет понятно, что делать. Иначе вы идете на работу.
Yes, it's you can call it like that because it's applicable in your routine life. You say work is more like your dharma, the people you interact with, but you have sadhana, your pure process with no sufficiencies or defects. And dharma is full of defects, and you need to stand with it. It is helpful to follow it. When someone is not preaching, he's shy or being shy. Can you do any suggestions on how do you escape this state of being shy? Well, they may maybe think that they're gonna face some arguments and stuff, but you don't need to set your mind on arguments. When people were spreading and distributing books in the United States back in the 60s, they would just if someone would not accept or argue on the book's context, they would just leave. There was only one brahmachari who was there arguing about this context with people. And by the time they finished distributing books, he was still there arguing it. And in the end, he was grabbed by the devotees and pulled in the car, and he was still screaming that this is this, this is that. So you don't really need to argue with people. Just argument your way. How can material things or obstacles, material obstacles can be used in the spiritual advancement? No, no, no. Only it is, you cannot use it. You are being used. So you just need to be dedicated to Kṛṣṇa. That's it. If you're sick, how can you use it? No, you need to be devoted to Kṛṣṇa. We are not using anything in this world. The situation is using us, especially when the difficulties comes. We would organize the whole thing the other way. But we are devoted to Kṛṣṇa, that's it. We can say that we are using it, but only in that sense that we are devoted to Kṛṣṇa. Why we are not celebrating the day of the initiation of the devotees? Only the day of birth. No, it's possible, you can do that. You can celebrate all these days, the day of first initiation, the second initiation, the third initiation. Recently, Guru Maharaj had 50 years of taking the sannyas. 50 years, an anniversary. So they've been celebrating 50 years of taking sannyas. A big date. So there was a festival there, and everybody been talking about ISKCON, and it was interesting. The day of initiation was never celebrated. Even the birthdays were never celebrated. It was more or less material thing. So we were not into that. Nowadays it's becoming more and more of a tendency. It started in 90s, in the late 90s, that the devotees started to celebrate their birthday. And in the beginning it was like less open, and now it's more open, more wide, and they started to celebrate it, and it's like they lost their conscience. It's a joke, of course. You can celebrate the way you want it, and all you want it. It's funny. One day it was my birthday, and I was in Mayapur, and it was also the Gaura Purnima, and someone told my Guru Maharaj that it was my birthday, and he came up to me, and he took a look at me, and had a smile a bit, and he said, and he started to sing Hare Kṛṣṇa to you, Hare Kṛṣṇa to you. It was tradition in this disciple Sangha, and it's funny. Everybody is looking at you, and singing, and you just standing there, and they bring you garlands and stuff. That was the first time in my life like that. Guru Maharaj sang it. So this is our family traditions, and I don't see any that it is wrong. And what was the question? I can't remember. Why don't we celebrate our second birth? Oh, I think GBC's meeting is required. We need to discuss this question. I don't know. Gurudev, how do we really accept a spiritual master and accept his instructions? You've already accepted a spiritual master. Your question is probably is about how the development of this relationship, how to get perfection in this relationship. But you already have your spiritual name, Devidasi. You're in the process. There are many lectures saying that there are some alternative chanting of other names of the Lord, like Jesus' prayer or 99 names of Allah. But in this Jesus prayer, where is the glorification of the Lord? Well, like when we ask for the mercy of the Lord. Well, it is an indirect glorification of the Lord. We address in a person behind this prayer. Because we are addressing him, it means that there is a person behind it that is merciful and that can give us the mercy. So it's like indirect addressing. And Jesus' prayer that you mentioned, it is shortened. In the longer version, there is a glorifying. What should I do with my strong desires that I cannot apply in my life? Yeah, it depends on Kṛṣṇa. What kind of desires and in what order should it be applied? Those desires that are harmful for us while we're serving, Kṛṣṇa will not fulfill. He's not eager to fulfill. You can test yourself. Try to get it with your own power, without any prayers. Just take a look around what people do. They are not chanting Hare Krishna mantra, they just walking over the heads of everyone through the competition and envy, and you can see what they're getting in the end. They say that it's only duality there. There is nothing good or bad. This is the highest understanding. Guru Maharaj was asked recently what to do when a disciple who spent so many years on spiritual practice, who is a senior devotee, old devotee, and he's still full of hate to some people, who is neglecting some of the people. Where is that mode of goodness that should be there in him? That was the question that even old people, old devotees, can still be in the duality. And Guru Maharaj said, I see only good in people. They might even do something wrong, but you can forgive them for it. So you just need to, maybe you need to pay your attention to sadhana, how to improve it. Is it a good answer for that question? Check it. Yeah, this is the highest level. There is duality and there is no good, no bad. But this is a high level of understanding. And we should not glorify people for any achievements. This is just temporary thing. But our attitude to it, we need to learn a proper attitude to it. It takes time. This is what sadhu, they do it like that. We still feel it, like this is good, this is bad. Under their influence, we feel it. But when we become master of the feelings, we see that life is, we see life differently. All the good and bad is just our perception of feelings and mind. If we turn off, if we shut off the feelings, we cannot apply such terms anymore. Can I see the thing that I don't understand? Absolutely, we always see something that we don't understand. Last question. Is it true that demigods are devotees with some of the desires remained in them, material desires? Yeah, that's true. They are devotees, but they still have these material desires. And this material state that they are showing it, that they are situated in a high rank. There are some people in the material in our life and that they are taking part in this cultural life of the society, and they engage in the charity and everything. They are very spiritual, and they are all following the morality, and they help people. They give an example of a better life. This is their way to demigods. Austerities, morality, high morality. They're serving demigods. That's why they're reaching them in the end. They're materialistic, but they're very clean. And the last question. Can we pray for having all my desires to be fulfilled? It depends on what are your desires. There is no reason to pray for material desires. Nowadays, people are praying for a devotee who is sick, but they want him to stay in the service of the Lord. No, but if you have just material desires, there is no need to pray, because Prabhupada was saying, like, those animals and birds, they are not praying, and they are still giving it. Everything is given to us. Whatever we have to get, everything is given. We will get it. There is no need to pray for the things that are given for us already. We need to pray for the things that we don't have. Krishna consciousness is not in our possession.
Это высшие ценности.
Love for
Об этом
God,
нужно молиться, конечно.
we need to pray for this.
А так молиться о том, что была просто пища, одежда.
But
и
praying
всё еще
for
защита
the
от врагов.
food, or having clothes,
такова судьба.
or having protection from enemies, there is no
Проживет
need.
как-то эту жизнь,
It's just our
сколько ему дано.
destiny.
Материально это уже есть.
Material
Он
is
рождается,
something
идет,
that is
вот,
there
вот,
already.
всё есть.
If you check the horoscope,
Невидимый
it's
фонд
there.
существует.
There is an
Который
unseen
порождает
fund,
жизнь.
supplying fund, that
Он
is
исчерпывается,
following
и мы
us.
умираем.
And once it is finished,
Пока
we
мы
die.
живем, значит, фонд нас поддерживает.
While
Всё
we're
есть.
still alive, there's a fund.
Но вы
there.
хотите сейчас все получить.
But you want to get it now, right away,
Не
immediately,
в соответствии с кармой и судьбой.
not accordingly to
Что
your destiny
это заблуждение,
or karma.
это иллюзия.
This is
Сколько
illusion.
людей мечтает и молится получить?
There are many people
И
who
разуверились
pray
собой.
and they dream of getting something,
Они не могут
and
судьбу
they don't get
предсказать.
it,
Их молитвы не входят в
and
пределы
they
судьбы,
think
поэтому
that-
ничего не меняется.
and they think that there is no God. So they
Вот
pray,
если
and
вы в
there's
пределы
just
судьбы выходите,
there's destiny
тогда
doesn't
много
change.
изменится. Если
But
вы говорите,
what if
«О,
you
Господь,
go
я хочу
beyond your
жизнь за
destiny
жизнью». О,
and you
какое
change it,
такое вы думаете, если вы так
and you
мыслите?
say, I would like to serve the Lord,
Это
I would
другой
like to
вопрос.
serve you through the lifetime and lifetime and lifetime.
А если вы говорите, дай мне то,
That
дай
is
мне
very good.
хлеб, дай мне квартиру,
That is
вот, вот,
very
по твоей дороге
strong. But
должен
if you
пустить
pray like, give me
иди
an
на
apartment,
работу,
give me
зарабатывай,
good
вот там
job.
ты потеряешь
But
деньги, тут ты приобретешь
this is
деньги,
the
тут
way
ты обманут,
you
тут
need
ты
to
кого-то
go
обманешь.
and get a
Вот таким
job
ты
and
путем
earn
ты
money,
пойдешь,
and
что ты
this
это уже тебе
this
предначертано.
way you will
А если
get
ты
the
хочешь
money and lose your
кого-то,
money.
и в твоей судьбе нет,
But if you're
ты
asking
улучшишь свою судьбу,
to have
значит, ты
something
начнешь завидовать,
that
делать то,
someone
что тебе
has and
не
you
предназначено,
don't
не
have, you're gonna
предопределено,
worsen your
не соответствует твоей
destiny,
природе.
because it will go
Если ты
against
еще
your
об этом
nature,
молишься, говорится.
especially if you're praying for it.
Единственная хорошая вещь, когда человек молится,
There is
это
one good
приближает
thing
Бога,
when
приближает
a
Бога.
person is
Постепенно
praying,
он,
he is
чтобы
getting closer to the Lord.
приблизиться к Богу, а про свои материальные просьбы забудет.
He would be
это хорошо.
closer to the Lord, and
В
he
этом
would
смысле хорошо
lose
молиться в любом
his
случае.
material desires.
Мгм.
This kind of prayer is
Спасибо.
good. This way
Прабхупада
to pray is
ки
good.
джай.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.